In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw the second daily work project in 1433. And you can find this project by logging into Blackboard and going to the left navigation menu and selecting on daily work projects. So you pick right there. Here's the first project you drew, the tool slide, and if you scroll down, you're going to see the axle base help sheet. This is our second project. And what we're going to draw is this front profile of this, and then we're going to extrude that. And so the profile is actually 6 inches wide. It is 3.5 inches tall, and then when we extrude it, it's going to be 3 inches deep. At that point, we're going to add a fillet over here to the back that has a R of 1. We're going to add a hole that has a diameter 0.625. We're going to add these two holes that have diameters of 0.75. We're going to add this arc that's in here, and we're also going to add this hole that we have right here. And you'll notice that the radius of this arc is 0.375, okay? All right, so you can refer to Blackboard to get help with this, or you can open up the Chapter 3. Let me scroll up here a little bit. You can pick on the student guide and you can open the Chapter 3 module there and download it as a PDF and scroll down, and you'll find information on drawing this project, including how to create the base sketch. And so this is what we're talking about with the base sketch. These are the dimensions that we really want to have that will allow us to extrude this and make it look good. So I'm going to drag this out of the way, and I'm also going to drag Blackboard out of the way so we can see that we are in Inventor. We're going to come over here where it says Part and pick on Part. And when that opens up, one of the first things we do, we always project some geometry onto our axes that we see right here. And so if you go over to the tree, the browser over here, and we expand on the word origin, you can see that we have a YZ and an XZ plane. We're going to actually project their geometry onto this. So if you remember this from the other day, we go to the project geometry button, and on the top button, we just pick on that top button. And then we come over here and we pick on the YZ plane, and we pick on the XZ plane, and that projects both of those planes' intersection onto the XY plane, which is this plane that we're going to be making our sketch on. And then we press escape. We get out of project geometry. We go over to center point from the origin, and we right click on that and go down and select visibility, and that makes our center point visible. Now you could think of that center point as 0, 0 if you want to. The good thing about having this geometry in here that we projected onto our axes, our X and Y axes, is that we can actually dimension to those or use those to constrain geometry. All right, so I want to go back and get normal to my XY plane. And I'm going to hold down on the mouse wheel and drag this over because I want to draw right up in here. And like I said, I know that that is 6 inches wide, and I know it's 3.5 tall, and then I'm going to extrude it 3. So I'm going to look at the dimensions that are on this object, and I'm going to think about, well, where should I start? And what I'm going to do, it seems to me that a good place to start might be right here at this corner, because I can come over this corner, down, across, up, and over to here, and up to here, and I can start drawing a lot of this. Then I can come in and add this, okay? So that's my plan, is to do that. So let me drag this out of the way. So I'm going to start by picking the line command, and I'm just going to come out here. I'm going to scroll out a little bit. I'm going to come out here into space and just pick a point. And then I'm going to move to the left, and I want to make sure that I'm seeing, you see that there's a little glyph right below my cursor there. And what that tells me is that this is going to be a horizontal line. And in looking at the dimensions, I'm going to type 1.625 and press enter. All right, next I'm going to go straight down, so I want to make sure that it snaps to being perpendicular to that, and I'm going to type 1 and press enter. Now I'm going to go to the left, and I want to and make sure you'll see it's sort of running uphill, so I want to go until it snaps right there and snaps perpendicular, and I can type 1.5 and press enter. And then I want to go straight up, and I want to go 0.625. Now I want to show you something. What if you didn't exactly go straight up? So I'm going to go off at a little bit of an angle here, and I'm going to type 0.625 and press enter. Now you can see that that definitely went off at an angle, right? So I'm going to press escape and show you something you can do with this. Right up here you have a tab called the Constrain tab, and you have some options here, and one of those options is to make something vertical, make like a line vertical or make it horizontal or so on. So I'm going to pick on the vertical constraint and pick that line. And you're going to see there's a little glyph next to it. And so Inventor is saying, okay, that thing is going to be vertical no matter what. Okay. So now I'm going to start my line command again. And then I'm going to pick right on this endpoint. And I'm going to move to the left. Now, how far do I want to go? Well, I know the total width is 6, but I've already put in 1.625 and 1.5. So here's what I'm going to do. When it asks me for the length, I'm going to type 6 minus and put in a parentheses, and I'm going to type 1.5 plus 1.625, and then I'm going to close the parentheses. So I'm going to take 6 and I'm going to subtract those two lengths right there from it and press enter, and that ought to be where my part ends, is right there. Okay, so from there, in looking at the dimensions, I'm going to go straight up, and this time what I want to do is I want to go up 3.5 minus 0.625, because the total height of this is 3.5, so I can't just type in 3.5 here. So I'm going to type 3.5 minus 0.625 and press enter. Then I'm going to wait until it gets horizontal like that. I'm going to move to the right, and then I'm going to type 1 and press enter. And then I'm going to move straight down like that, and I'm going to type 1.625 and press enter. And then I'm going to go across in this direction, and you know, I actually, in looking at the sketch, I can see that it tells me that that's 4.25. So I'm going to go 4.25 and press enter. And at that point, I could come straight up and keep drawing, but I'm going to do something. I'm just going to press escape. And then I'm going to pick on the line command again, and this time I'm going to snap to this endpoint, and I'm going to go straight up. And what I want to do is go straight up 1.375 and press enter. And now I want to draw this curving arc around the top, and here's the way you do that in Inventor. If you're connected to the end, you hold down the Shift key, and then you press your left click button, and you just move around like that. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to delete this stuff out that I just put in there. I didn't mean to put all that in there. Let's start it again. I'm going to pick on the line command, and I'm going to snap to that endpoint. And then I'm going to hold down with my pick button and my Shift key, and I'm going to move like in this direction right here. And I'm just going to, when I get back to the line, I'm going to pick like that and press escape. So I just drew that arc by holding down Shift and my pick button and just dragging over there. Now I need to put a dimension on that. And what my dimension needs to be is 0.375. I've got 275, 0.375, and enter. That's what it says. So that is the total radius of that. So actually the distance from here to the center is 0.375, and from the center to here is 0.375. So in total, I believe that's a 0.75. Then I want to take a line and go to my endpoint right here and start and go up and pick on that endpoint right there and press escape. Now, as I was making this dimension, right down here in this section, it was telling me how many dimensions that it needed. So if I do an undo, for example, let's see if I can get back to where, right down here it's telling me that 4 dimensions are needed, okay? And as I continue to undo this stuff and add stuff back in, now it's still telling me that 2 dimensions are needed, but I guess, let's see, I can't imagine where they actually are. I guess that line right there, maybe it wants that. I don't know why it would. But the point is, at this point, I don't see any reason why this can't be extruded. But looking at this down here tells you how many dimensions it would take to fully constrain this sketch. When something's fully constrained, it can't be distorted anymore or by dragging something or anything else. So there must still be something in here that doesn't like, but I like it, so I'm going to pick on Finish Sketch. All right. Now, next thing I want to do is pick Extrude. And remember, when you're in a sketch and you're ready to extrude, you can just type E and press Enter, and it'll go directly into the Extrude command. And right down here where it says Distance A, when I pull this guy out, I want this to be 3, and press Enter. All right, so there's my base sketch. And so everything looks pretty good right now. So I'm going to add, there is a hole that goes right in here. And that hole, let me pull this up, is right here. And it's aligned right along this. And it is 1 inch from this corner straight down to where that is. Because that radius of 1.0, that is the center of this arc, but it's also the center. So we would say that the center of this hole and the center of this arc are concentric. The diameter of that hole has a diameter of 0.625, 625 thousandths, okay? So that's what we're going to add in there, and we're going to also add this fillet that's back in here. All right, so to add that hole, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick on the hole command, and I was going to pick like right here, okay? Now, I want to make sure that what I have is a simple hole and that the seat says none. And for the diameter of that hole, I want to come right down here and type in 0.625. Now, I do need to locate the center of that hole 1 inch from the top, and I want it to be right on the edge of this. So first I'm going to pick on this top edge right here, and I'm going to type 1. And that moves it. Now don't press enter, just type 1, and then I'm going to pick right on the edge here, and I'm going to type 0, and that should move it right to there. And so I've got the hole located where I want. It has a diameter of 0.625. It's right on the edge, and it's down 1. And so I'm going to pick OK and let it cut that hole for me. All right. Now the next thing I want to do is add a fillet right here, and the radius of that fillet is 1. So we're going to use a new tool. It's this tool right here that says fillet. You pick on the fillet command, and I know you may think you're supposed to say fillet, but we're not French. We're from Texas, and so we say fillet. And you pick on fillet, and what it needs to know is which edge do you want to fillet. And so we're going to pick on this edge right here. We could even spin this guy around if we needed to, but I'm just going to pick right there. Now, it doesn't know what the size of the fillet is going to be, so I'm going to expand right here, and it says it has 1 edge, but it thinks right now that the radius is 0.125, and obviously the radius is 1.00. And I'll tell you, it's really not necessary to enter the 0.00 if it's exactly 1, but I just wanted to show you that. So it shows us what it's going to build if we pick OK. And that looks good to me, so I'm going to pick OK. All right, so we need another hole right through here that has a diameter of 0.325, and it's concentric with the center of this arc. So I'm going to pick on the hole tool, and I'm going to pick like right in there, and then I'm going to pick on the edge of this guy. Let's see how it centered it right there. I want this to be a simple hole with, it's not a counterbore or anything. I want it to go through all, And the diameter for this hole is going to be 0.325. So it's going to be smaller, and I'm going to pick OK. And there that guy goes through. If we go to our front view and we look, we should be able to look all the way through both of those. So I'm going to go back to my home view again. So I need to add 2 holes in here that have a diameter of 0.75. Let me see if I can drag this over, show you that. Okay, I have 2 holes here. They're 1 inch from this edge, and then they're 1 inch apart. And from this edge here, we come back 0.875, and they're both 2 times diameter 0.75. So that's next. So this time, rather than going directly to the hole command, I'm going to actually make a new sketch. So I'm going to pick right here and go pick on sketch, create sketch. All right. And I'll show you a tool. This is the point tool right here. See, it's called point center point. When you just move your mouse up there, wherever you put these little point center marks, center points, you can build a hole on those. And so I'm going to pick right there, and I'm going to place a point center point. You can see it's just a little plus, and then I'm going to follow straight up, and I'm going to pick again. All right. Now I don't have any dimensions on those guys yet, so I'm going to do a dimension, and I'm going to actually dimension from this edge right here to that one. And I'm going to say that I want that to be 0.875 and enter. Now, if they don't move together, just do another dimension from this edge here to the point center point and type 0.875 in there like that, and you can pick the green check there. We need another dimension from this edge, so pick on this front edge right here to the point center point. And of course, this one we want to be 1.00. And then we can actually place a dimension from this center point to this center point and drag it out here and type 1.00 and then pick the check mark. And at that point, we have placed the centers exactly where we want for 2 holes. And if we finish this sketch and we go to the hole command, it knows it's going to put 2 holes there. And because they're the same size and we're using the point center point, this is a good way to make multiple holes that are going to be the same size. And we want these to be simple holes. We don't want any kind of seat like a counterbore or countersink. And the diameters for these guys are 0.75. We press enter, and there are those 2 holes. All right, so we're nearly finished with this, but let me show you something. There is a slot that's cut through here, and that slot starts 0.875 in from the left edge and 0.875 in from the right edge, and whatever's left, that's how wide our slot is. And the slot should be right on this plane. Okay, it's going to be coplanar when we cut it. So I'm going to show you how to do this. A lot of people would choose the wrong plane to build that on, like they might try to build this plane and build a vertical cutting plane thing, but instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick here because I know it's coplanar. I'm going to pick here and pick new sketch. All right, now anything I draw is going to be on that surface right there. And so, in fact, I'm going to go to home so you can see it. My sketch, anything I sketch is going to be on this plane right here. So I'm going to use a rectangle, and I'm just going to start somewhere in here on this plane, and I'm going to go back into space. Because all I need is a rectangle there that I can extrude and cut out. And so this rectangle, I'm going to press escape to get out of the rectangle command. This rectangle you see right here is on this surface right here. Okay. Now I need to put some dimensions on it. So I'm going to do a dimension from this edge to that edge and move back in there. And I want that to be 0.875. And then I'm going to do a dimension from the back edge to this side of the rectangle and move that out into here. I want that to be 0.875 as well and press enter. At that point, I'm actually finished with the sketch because it doesn't matter that the rectangle goes all the way through. It's just going to make a big element that I can cut with when I extrude it. So I'm just going to type E and go directly to the extrude command. And you can see what I just built. That's the rectangle extruded straight up. But I need to look at this line right here that says Boolean. The Boolean functions are when we union or join, or we cut, which is like a subtract, or we can intersect or so on like that. What we need to do now, we need to do a cut. I want to cut the mass of this big cube from the mass of my part. So I need to pick on that right there, and I need to do a cut, but I still want to go up with it. So I'm going to pick, you see how it's pointing down right now? I'm going to pick this right here. I want to cut up through the part like that. I don't want to cut down through it. So this tells me the direction to cut that sketch that's being extruded up. And so if I pick OK, there it is. There's my slot cut through there, and the slot, the bottom of the slot is just right on this plane right here. Okay. Now I'm looking to see if I've forgotten anything, and I have. There is a hole right here that is 0.375, and its dimension from the center right here, and it's back 175. And we also knew that from here to here is 0.875. So as long as I place that hole 1.5 from the front edge, and from this edge here, I place it 0.875 plus 1.75, I should be good. And then the diameter is 0.375. All right. So let's just do that. Let's pick on the hole command, and let's just pick approximately where we think that ought to be. And then we'll go right here and we'll type 0.375. And we don't press enter after we do that. And then we're going to pick on this edge right here, and we're going to type 1.5, but don't press enter. Then we're going to pick right here on this corner, and we're going to have to add 0.875 plus 1.75, right? Because it was those two dimensions that we needed, and that looks good. And at that point, we can just come over here and pick OK. You don't have to press enter again. We just pick OK. And that locates that hole where it needs to be. And that hole actually should go down and go through our part. It's a through-all hole. And the way we know that is this. Whenever we have a diameter for a hole, pardon me, and it doesn't give us a depth, then we have to assume that that hole is a through hole, which means it goes all the way through the object. At this point, what I would want to do is come up here and do a file, save as, and when this opens up, I would want to make sure that I'm in the correct folder, and right here I would type in axle base, and I would use all caps, all right. And when I'm done with that, I would hit save, right? Just pick on save right here, and it should save it into your project folder that you made last week on Thursday, I think it was. So anyhow, that's how we're gonna make the second model. And this is your assignment for between now and the next class. All right. So thanks for watching, and good luck.